Welcome to another edition of Teach the Geek interviews. My name is Neil Thompson. I'm the founder of Teach the Geek. It's an online platform for science and engineering professionals. You can find out more about it at teachthegeek.com. Again, that is teachthegeek.com. Today, my guest is Nellie Medow, and she's the founder of Enolve and also the company's director of outreach and operations. Enolve is a platform where people can post problems and connect them to solutions, allowing for collaborative problem solving. She's also a former teacher and she's now a student studying organizational psychology. I'm really interested to learn more about her transition from teacher to student and co-founder, the source of her interest in tech and public speaking, of course, since I like to talk about that too. Welcome to Teach the Geek interviews, Nellie.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you for having me. And you did a great job explaining Enolve. A lot of times people have a hard time with like the abstraction, but you got it perfectly. So that was cool to hear.
Well, I'm definitely going to ask you more about so you can.
Okay. I'll tell you more for sure. Right.
Yeah, I certainly did my best. So, from the bit of research that I did on you, when you were a youngster, I'm assuming that the idea of starting a tech company wasn't in your plans. But hey, maybe I could be wrong. But when you were a kid, what did you want to be?
All right, so let's go back to the beginning. Actually, when I was in school, I thought I was going to be a lawyer. That's what, from sixth grade on, I was planning to go to law school and I was going to be a criminal defense attorney. I was very set. That was the plan. I thought about teaching a little bit here and there. I actually also thought about being an entrepreneur because I did take a class in high school on entrepreneurship. And in my class, I decided I was going to have my own law firm, right? This was my idea. So I had a lot of ideas, and I went to college, started studying law, and I realized it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. There's a lot more like research and behind the scenes writing, and I was more into like the courtroom theatrics. I'm like, this is not quite what I thought. So maybe I should do something else. I always had a strong math background and I always liked working with kids. So one weekend I just made the decision like, oh, I think I'll just be a math teacher. And then that's where that went. So I taught for about 10 years and took some time off with my kids, did some other part-time jobs. And then, in this last couple of years, after like the pandemic, just gave me like a chance to kind of reevaluate and think about, what I might like to do. But I think you were asking me back then, I'm kind of just leading you to where I'm at now. Do you want me to keep going and telling you more about my current story?
Oh, of course, we're going to get into the current story. We started off with the past story. We'll get into the present and the future as well. It's something you actually mentioned that what actually caught my attention was you said that you were a teacher and then you left for a while to be with your children. It actually reminded me of another guest that I had on not too long ago. She was she got a degree in engineering and then she worked as an attorney for a few years. And then she left that to be a stay-at-home mom for 10 years. And now she works as a personal stylist. You don't really hear those type of stories every day. Someone that started off with a degree in civil engineering and ends up as a personal stylist. But it was actually
right. Maybe she wanted more flexibility, right? When you're a mom, your life changes. And before that, I thought for sure I was going to work forever. I would never stay at home. And, this was my thought. And as soon as I had my son, I realized, oh, I need to stay at home. So I did take a leave for a couple of years. Then I went back to teaching. Then I had my other son and I realized, what, I really want to work more part-time. So I have a tutoring company. So that's part of my entrepreneur too. So I work with students all the time and I do test prep and I do a lot of math and science and ACT, SAT prep. So that, it's a lot of what I do kind of on a daily basis too. So yeah, I just decided that was important to me. And with the law school, when I was thinking about going back, when I was teaching, because I pondered it again, but I think I was just concerned with trying to, manage having a family because I knew that was something that was going to be on the horizon. I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to manage both. So I decided that maybe this is something I could possibly pursue later in life if I really wanted to do it. But teaching gave me the flexibility to be able to do that. And then I stayed home and, trying to explore different things.
Gotcha. When it comes to balancing having a career or having a job and then also family responsibilities, at least in your opinion, what can companies do to help parents in able to balance both?
Yeah, that's a good question. So that's part of my interest too, because I'm getting my degree right now, my master's degree in organizational psychology. And that's one of my areas of interest is the concept of work-life balance. And I feel like in the last like almost 2 years with the pandemic, things have changed where there's more like remote situations and that's more the norm where that wasn't the case before. And I think that's allowed for some flexibility, different type of work situations, whether it's hybrid and more flexible hours. And I think too, with everything that happened, there were more, I don't know if mental illness like necessarily increased or if maybe there was more awareness or whatever it can be. But I think that now people are aware that, people are having, some different issues, whether it's like on the social front or, whatever it happens to be. So companies need to understand that about their employees and see their employee as a whole person, not just here's the worker who's here for 8 hours a day to, to do their job. That's important. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, you want your employees to do their work, but at the same time realize that that's a human being, and we're multifaceted and we have emotions, we have other things going on in our lives, and one's personal life is going to impact them at work, and that's just the nature of it. And I think being aware of that and being accommodating as a leader, as a manager, I think is important and it's helpful. And I feel like so many people like who were feeling that they were not being appreciated have started looking for other jobs or becoming entrepreneurs. I mean, I've come across so many people in the last year that decided to leave the traditional workplace and try to come up with something on their own because they wanted to have the flexibility, they wanted to have the appreciation and the respect. And I think now employers are looking back, like kind of like thinking about their employees and realizing that they need to be more accommodating and think about like this flexibility with the work-life balance and have like some supports put in place. I've talked with some different people. I have a Facebook group of organizational psychologists and we talk about this. And some people have talked about different measures that they have in their company, like just to help like with psychological safety, help people be more vulnerable, all these kinds of things. And that's nice to see because I don't think that was always the case. So yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely it's difficult, managing a job when you're. I don't shouldn't say this is mostly for mothers, but I think more so because we take on, the brunt of all the, the family responsibilities. But I think it's sometimes tough to manage, working full time, being an effective parent, running a household, everything else, that's involved in life. So I feel like if your employer is accommodating and, there's a good rapport, I think that's helpful.
I don't envy employers' position when it comes to helping employees manage these, both facets of their lives, because you don't ever want to be in a position if you're the employer where one person feels accommodated and the other person feels put upon because of the accommodations you're making for this other employee. So I mean, it's one thing for the employee to think, okay, this company is great, it's accommodating me, but is this accommodation hurting or negatively affecting other people within the company? So I don't know if there's an easy answer for this, but certainly these companies have some time to try to figure it out, or else, just
Right.
like you said, people like yourself or just people are going to go and find other places to be, start their own businesses, go elsewhere. There's no easy answer for it, for sure.
Right. And I think that, like with my degree, I think that's becoming even more important in the workplace because with the organizational psychologists, we're trying to help people, understand like their feelings, be more effective, have this workplace satisfaction, help leaders know how best to manage their employees. And I feel like more companies are utilizing that service. I mean, I know they also have HR with the human resources. So, that's part of it too. But I think like the organizational psychologists, sometimes the training is a little bit different, and I think like using those type of individuals should help companies. I know that's like more of a growing trend, even like I know in other countries there it's been a little bit more established, and I think the US is starting to do more of that. And like for me, when I was looking at different things and I was thinking about getting into psychology, I thought that just kind of made sense to me. And when I heard this is a growing trend, I'm like, yeah, companies really definitely need this. So
Absolutely. So where did the idea for Enolve come from?
that is not me. That is my founder, Oliver Siegel. So he um, has always been interested in like problem solving and how people make decisions, and being able to find uh, solutions to like all different kinds of problems, and really kind of targeting when a person has a problem, or a company, whoever it is, what is it, what's the root cause, what's causing this problem? Because usually it goes a lot deeper. Like somebody might realize, okay, there is this problem, but there's other things associated with the problem, and like what are some of these like goals that it's impacting. So Enolve, I think, looks at the problem more deeply. And I know there are other tools out there. There's other process improvement tools, like there's Six Sigma. There's other things out there that people use. But I feel like with Enolve, it offers like a unique solution, to be able to look at all different types of problems and be able to have this collaboration. Eventually, when the app comes out, which is going to be very soon, it's going to be crowdsourced. So we'll be able to get, other people's input. It'll be available. So it's pretty cool. I think it's exciting. I mean, I was interested when I was learning about it, and we were able to design some courses to help people better understand the method, basically make it more user friendly. So I took my teaching background, my curriculum background, and we were able to design some courses so people could see that you could actually do Enolve by yourself. Or like what we're trying to do right now is doing some coaching with Enolve. So like if somebody is having a rough time, whether they need like a life coach or an executive coach, whatever it happens to be able to use it as a tool to guide them through that process. So I think that's different than other things that are out there right now. And yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for it to hit mainstream and for people to have it on their phones, on their computers. I think it's definitely going to be a good thing. I feel like it'll be a game changer. So
Excellent. Okay, so you mentioned earlier that the idea of Enolve is kind of abstract. I fully agree with you. So, so let's just fast forward. You said that the app will be released at some point soon.
pretty soon, like,
Oh,
I think like within the next week or two.
oh,
So
okay. So
so
very
yeah, so
soon.
it'll be pretty soon, and we're going to start the beta testing. So like it won't be like fully released to the public because we need to, kind of get all the kinks out and test it out. So we have some people who are going to be helping us with that. And then after that point, like it'll be out there. So
Excellent.
everybody will get a chance to be able to use it.
Great. So let's just say it's out there. I download the app. What can I do with the app?
Okay, so you can input into the app what a problem is that you're having. So it could be a problem that you're having yourself personally. It could be something that's like a workplace issue. I mean, we've all talked about like social justice problems, like climate change. Any type of a problem. You are able to input what the problem is, and like whenever there is a problem, there are sub problems. It's not just one thing. So like you're able to input the different problems, and then there will be like a prompt to ask you about what we call terminal goals. Okay, there's a poster behind me if you can see it. It's the blue cloud. The terminal goals are kind of like these abstract, our needs, our wants, our goals, our desires. And so like when you're feeling, let's say you're having a problem with somebody in the workplace, it's like a toxic situation or whatever it happens to be, and then you think about what would, this is my problem, I'm having trouble with a coworker, so what's the flip side, how would I like to feel, or what situation would I like to feel? So maybe it's like happy, or having clarity, or having peace of mind, or whatever. So once you kind of pinpoint like what are all these different needs that it's violating for me, once you have like some more understanding of that, then you're able to take a look at what are some actual tangible solutions, which is like our green check mark. So like these are like some action steps, like what can I actually do? Because nobody wants to sit with a problem and not have a solution. Like for me personally, I don't love dealing with problems. I just want to quickly be able to figure out what's going on, how can I fix it? But with Enolve, we need to like kind of process a little bit more, because sometimes things run a little bit more deeply and you realize, oh, there's other things that have happened in somebody's life that's impacted this. So we need to like, explore this. Once you've done that fairly well, then you're able to look at some solutions. So like with the app, once it's out there for a little bit and it has like some more of these answers that'll be saved, it'll have kind of like have this inventory of solutions. You'll be able to see what are some other solutions, or like if some companies will be able to have like this sphere, and so like a company might be advertising itself for something it can offer, like that'll be like available on the app. So I mean, like right now, like when we're doing the classes, it's all coming from like a person on their own, or if they're like collaborating with like a group, they can kind of like have a little think tank and get some answers together. But it's a little bit more kind of on your own. But I think once the app is out there and we're using it, if you're having trouble coming up with some solutions for yourself, it will prompt you. It'll give you some answers. Like, here's what you can do. Here's how you can deal with this coworker. And sometimes I think we need suggestions. And everybody has their own frame of mind, like your own lens, how you see things. But I think it helps to be able to see things from other people's viewpoint. And so that's going to allow for that. And, hopefully it'll allow, like, in the greater picture, to have things, like, create a better world, have more peace and have, have things in a good place. So it's kind of like the big picture. And I got interested, like when I watched your podcast, I got interested in the decision intelligence, because I feel like that's so much a part of what we're trying to do too, is like use this app to help people make good decisions, take a look at the outcomes and decide, like, how important is this, and where does artificial intelligence come into play, because that's going to be on the horizon too. And see, like, because people don't always realize you make one decision and it has a certain impact, and then it impacts something else and so on, and it becomes this chain of events. And I feel like with Enolve, it lets you kind of think through that process, so you can try to make like a good informed decision. You're not always going to be perfect, right? I mean, that's just the nature of life, but I think it helps improve that process.
Okay. I like your example of having a toxic coworker. So let's just say I have a toxic coworker. I feel like punching this person in the throat every time I see them. So
Yep.
was Enolve going to tell me or give me a bunch of solutions, or is it going to, I guess, aggregate solutions offered by other people and give me the best solution based on those answers?
I think it's going to, well, in terms of best solution, that's also kind of subjective. So the best for who, you know what I mean? So I think, like, you will get some different options as to different solutions. So I think you'll have the option to come up with some of your own solutions and add them, but also there'll be other solutions that will come up. And I feel like you as the user will have that available, and you'll see, oh, there's 10 different solutions. There's different things I can do, because it's not like just one thing you might need to do. You might need to do a series of things. And what I think is a good solution might not be a good solution for you. I think it depends on the person. So I think, I have to see, like, when the app comes out, like, how it's all gonna, like, look, where I've seen, like, kind of the behind the scenes with the UI and UX. But when it all comes together and I can see in the app, I'll have, like, a better view of it. But, like, from what I know, we'll be able to get some different options. You'll be able to input some options, and make some decisions and see what's best practice. And like I said, hopefully that'll help. I mean, there are a lot of problems people face, whether it's in the workplace, and I feel like it's a great application for organizations, but also people in their everyday personal lives face all kinds of problems. So we're never going to get away from problems, so this hopefully will be a tool to help people solve those problems.
Excellent. Based on your days working as a teacher, how has that informed your life now as the co-founder of a company?
That's a good question. I mean, I feel like as a teacher, my role was to educate the students and help them become their best selves and really impact others. And I feel like it was such an important job, and I loved it. I just felt like it was time for me to move on. But like, as I see my role now, I mean, I feel like I'm comfortable being out there. And I think that was being on stage every day as a teacher. You're always talking to students. And so now, I'm talking to, like, different individuals, like, in the workplace, and, both, like, in our company. And I think with my background in teaching and curriculum, I was able to help design how Enolve was going to look like for our courses. Because we didn't have the courses yet, that we developed that, like, this fall and winter. So I was able to use my teaching ideas to make it more like, in layman's terms, like, very concrete, so people can see, okay, there's these three symbols. We use sticky notes, and, like, the red sticky notes are your problems, the blue sticky notes are the terminal goals, the green sticky notes are your solutions, and we use, like, this online whiteboard, so it's very user friendly. And to me, like, when I was working with Oliver, and there was a lot of abstraction, and I told him, I said, you know what, if I had a class of students, here's what I would do. And so then we talked about it. We're like, okay, let's make this happen. Let's do this as a course so we can teach people this. So when the app comes along, that way they know how this works. So the app is going to be, like, very similar to, like, how we've been, doing the courses. So I think that's helped me. And I mean, as co-founder, I don't know that like anything exactly prepares you for that because I didn't really fully know what that really meant until I got into it. So I think it's a learning process when you're an entrepreneur. There are going to be like great moments and there are going to be difficult days and challenges. And the main thing is to like keep in mind that it's a journey. And it takes a little bit of time. Like I thought we'd get there a little bit sooner, but as I've talked to other people, they say sometimes it could take a year or two to really get things developed, so that you have to have a lot of patience. And I think, at least as being a teacher, I have that patience, so I think that's helped. But yeah, I mean, it's a totally different role for me. But I needed that. Like I needed to do something different. And I love like math and science. And and we're in such a tech world. So like it kind of makes sense to me, to be in this type of a role. And I think we need more females in these kind of roles. And so I feel like that makes me like a good role model to girls, to know like, okay, you can do this. You can have a strong math science background, get more involved in technology, look at different types of majors when you're in college, because you can do this too. Maybe you need to get a business background, whatever it happens to be. But I think the more girls see women in these roles, the more likely they will realize that they can do this too. So I feel like like I'm representative in that way too, because we definitely need more women in STEM, and we're getting it. I'm on a group, and there's like seven, I think, I forget how many, but there was like thousands of women in this group that are in the STEM world. So that was pretty eye opening. I was glad to see that. So I'm happy to be a part of that too.
You worked as a teacher for a number of years, and now you're the co-founder of a tech company. And judging from, well, based on your work as a teacher, there's obviously communicating with others that was necessary. You're communicating with your students. And now that you're the co-founder of a tech company, I'm assuming there's communication there as well. You mentioned that there's classes that you teach, and then there's also communicating with potential stakeholders who would have interest in the company. Is public speaking something you've always been good at? And if not, what'd you do to get better at it?
With public speaking, I mean, I haven't done like that many formal public speeches. I mean, as a teacher, you talk to your students every day. So, I mean, that never really stressed me out. I mean, I did speeches for the school. So whenever there was an opportunity, I always volunteered because I know some of the teachers didn't want to. So anytime we had a parent event, or if we had, honors assembly, whatever it was, I always did do the speech. So like, I don't know, I kind of got used to it. But have I done that many formal speeches? Have I done a TED talk? No, I haven't done that. I mean, I would love to be able to do those someday. Do I feel 100% comfortable as a public speaker? Not yet, but I feel that I've definitely done, a lot more speaking. I'm working with a video coach who she's been coaching me for like a couple months and getting me more comfortable doing video, and I've been doing like Facebook lives pretty much on a daily basis, and I feel like that's gotten me more comfortable, just talking to people and just putting myself out there. So yeah, I mean, I haven't gone around and done a lot of public speeches yet, but I feel like that's probably going to be in my future. So as I get more practice and experience, I'll get more comfortable. I do have a friend of mine who she does public speaking coaching, and she did work with me one time a couple months ago because I did have to do like one of these online public speeches. So she helped me develop my speech. And so that was helpful. And you just kind of give me like peace of mind from somebody who has experience doing it, to be able to know that. So yeah, I mean, I think with public speaking, it not everybody feels comfortable with it. And I think what you have to do is take action and put yourself out there, like this uncomfortable action, and be vulnerable. And I feel like I've gotten more comfortable doing it. So as I've been doing it like every day, it's not stressing me out. But yeah, am I 100% comfortable? No, not yet. But I think, I think I'll get there as I do more.
100%. What does that even mean, really, in the grand scheme of things? I think when it comes to public speaking for anything, practice certainly helps. But also when it comes to public speaking, if you're not a bit nervous doing it, you're a bit, I guess, yeah, if you're nervous, a bit anxious about it, it's a sign that that you don't actually care about what you're talking about. If you don't care at all, then I think it's very easy to just get up there and talk in front of people because you don't care what their reaction is going to be to whatever you're saying. But if you actually care, if you actually are interested in them receiving what you're saying, then there will be a bit of nerves there. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. If anything, it's natural. It'd be weird if there weren't any.
Right. Yeah,
You
they
know,
say you're supposed to have like this, that you're supposed to like channel that nervous energy and use that. And just like what my friend was telling me before my speech, she's like, just remember that these people are here to listen to you, and they're here listening to your message, and you're trying to impart this knowledge. So don't worry about anybody judging what your shirt looks like or what your makeup is like or any of these kinds of things. They're not sitting there judging you. They're really trying to learn from you and listen to your message, and so like, and I think because it was also online, I was a lot less stressed, but I think maybe if I would have been in person, maybe I would have been more nervous because I would have been standing at a podium and everybody's eyes would be on me. And I feel like with this situation, there was still a lot of people. There was like 80 people, on the Zoom. I couldn't see them all, but I mean, I could see them coming in. I see they were there, and it was a lot more people than I anticipated. But at the same time, like, I feel like doing things online, it's like a little bit more comfortable, and this is kind of the world we're in now. I mean, eventually I'm hoping, we'll be back to doing more things in person. Yeah, and I'll see, but I think just doing the more practice and getting more comfortable and not worrying so much about like, people's perceptions and judgments, and just focusing on like what your mission is and the message that you're trying to impart. That's what they're there for. You don't have to say everything exactly perfect. You make a mistake, that's okay. People need to see that you're human too, and I think and I've been doing like my Facebook lives like every day, and I feel like people have really connected with me. Am I the most eloquent speaker? Probably not, but that's okay, because I think maybe that makes me maybe less intimidating that way too, because they can see she's a real person, she talks about real issues. And I've had people just contact me just out of the blue, just from listening to me and just asking me for advice and asking for feedback. And we don't even know each other, but I think they've just connected with me. And I think even on like when you're doing the public speaking, as they see you, they connect with you in your message. So yeah, I definitely love to be able to do more of that in the future.
excellent. Well, Nellie, this has been really great talking to you. Thank you for being a guest. How can people get in touch with you?
I mean, I'm on Facebook. I have a couple different groups. So I have a group of organizational psychologists, so people can contact me there. I can also give you the links to it. It's a future and current IO psychologist. We also have the Enolve group online. So Oliver and I have that group together. So the Enolve, it's a longer name. It's like problem solving, personal development. I also created a personal development group of my own a few months ago on vulnerability, because that's important to me too. So it's called Vulnerability is My Superpower. So that's on Facebook as well. So like those are like my three groups. I'm also on LinkedIn if anybody wanted to contact me professionally. I'm also on LinkedIn. I've done a little bit of TikTok, not major. I'm just kind of like dabbling in it for now. I'm going to get into it more as I have time, but I only have like a few videos on like TikTok and YouTube. So mostly Facebook is the best way, because I feel like Facebook tends to engage people, hopefully for the better. But I mean, there's constant engagement, and I know a lot of people communicate with me that way with the groups. So yeah, any of those ways. But I can send that to you too if you wanted to attach it, if anybody wants to speak with me a little bit more.
Excellent. Well, everybody, that marks the end of another edition of Teach the Geek interviews. My name is Neil Thompson, founder of Teach the Geek. It's an online platform for science and engineering professionals. To learn more about it, you can go to teachthegeek.com. Again, that's teachthegeek.com. Until next time, take care and stay safe. Thanks, Nellie.
Thank you for having me, Neil. I appreciate it.